this video we will discuss about oxygen transport mechanism within the body, or we can say the how the oxygen is transported within the different part of the body. So the process start with inhalation. As we know that uh, oxygen air goes via nose into the lungs, and within these lungs what happens is, because of the concentration difference, oxygen is being transported from alveoli to the uh, pulmonary capillaries, as it is shown here. At the same time, because of the in the capillary, because of the concentration difference of CO2, uh, it gets transported to the pulmonary capillaries, and then it will goes from pulmonary capillaries to the alveoli, and this CO2 will then move out of the body. So how this oxygen is transported within this pulmonary capillary is via red blood cells. So as we have discussed in our previous videos, that red blood cell has hemoglobin that helps in the transport of oxygen molecules, and as it is shown here, the one hemoglobin is shown here, and the normal hemoglobin, one hemoglobin, or we can say one molecule of hemoglobin can carry 4 molecule of the oxygens. So hemoglobin is very important in order to have uh, sufficient oxygen in different part of the body, especially in tissues, as they are more sensitive to the oxygens. And the final figure is shown here. It represents the how the oxygen level is varied in accordance with the partial pressure of the oxygen. As we know from thermodynamics, people who have studied thermodynamics might know that partial pressure is directly partial pressure is proportional to the saturation. So here is the plot that is plotted between the partial pressure of oxygen and this percentage uh, hemoglobin saturation. The partial pressure is increased, as we seen that in the during the initial phase, when the partial pressure increase, there is a the rate of increase in the hemoglobin saturation is very high. However, when we reached at the later stage of the curve, we can see that the increase in partial pressure, the saturation of hemoglobin is not very high, because most of the hemoglobins are already saturated, and very less hemoglobins are left in order to be saturated. And this color, that is, we can say cream color, or uh, let's say it's a slightly pink color or a cream color. This represent the normal partial pressure of oxygen that is need to be maintained within the that is need to be maintained or is normally maintained within the body. So from this we can know that hemoglobin saturation is almost always above 90% within the body in normal case. And the scale on the right hand side shows the oxygen content in ml per 100 ml of the blood. So here in a normal case it should be between 18 to 20, as it is shown in the graph. Another important thing that we need to understand is that the transfer of oxygen from this alveoli to pulmonary capillary will uh, is based on thermodynamics. That is because of the concentration difference of the oxygen in the alveoli and the pulmonary capillary. If the transport of oxygen is not proper for any reason, such as the hemoglobin is not functioning properly, or the hemoglobin production is less, and the concentration of oxygen in the pulmonary capillary will not decrease, compared to the normal case. And when the concentration difference is less on the mass transfer, those who have studied mass transfer, they know that since the concentration difference is less in case of problems such as non-functional inefficient functioning of hemoglobin or less production of hemoglobin, the transfer of oxygen from alveoli to the pulmonary capillary will not be enough, or will not be sufficient, that is required for normal functioning of the cells. So this is one of the factor at which the oxygen transport can get affected because of disruption in the oxygen transport within the body. And the example that we have taken to understand this thing is the non-functioning of the hemoglobin, or improper or less production of hemoglobin within the body. I hope you have understood the basic overview about oxygen, how oxygen is transported within the body. If you need to understand more in detail, you can go through the references that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.